You can tend the garden, it's yours. Separate and alone. Everybody down on all fours. All right, mother, when? Lost the beans again. Punish me the way you did then. Give me claws and a hunch. Just away from this bunch and the gloom and the doom and the boom. And I ran back on and was like, okay, I'm fine. And I'm a klutzy person anyway. I'm someone that I'm always tripping over myself. And it's not intentional. I'm so aware of so many things that I'm so physically unaware of myself at a lot of times. And there was another moment in that, I think it was the same performance, where my crown that was under the kerchief, I had to run from the ball around the stage, get out of the dress into my actual Cinderella, like Cindy costume, and I couldn't get the crown off.
No.
It was like a comb, so it was stuck in my hair, and I think it had been like pinned, like I think it had been like bobby pinned in. So I'm like tugging at this thing, like trying to get it off, and I just remember saying something like, "Just cut it off, just cut it out of my head," and they were like, "We're in a community theater production of Cinderella. We're not cutting you out of your crown." And I just remember,
jaws of life. Get the jaws of life in here.
Yeah, and I just remember like holding onto it and saying, "Just pull it," because I was so late. They were like, "Cinderella." Cinderella. Yesterday, there were some really shitty things said about standbys and understudies and swings. And that just goes to show that there's a lot that still needs to be revisited and revamped in this industry. That's how I feel about that. Nothing I can do about that in this moment. Moving on. To Glendale, to the mountains of Glendale. We filmed in a camp in the mountains of Glendale called Camp Max Strauss. And when I say camp, I mean literally in the woods. And we had a breakdown, we had a breakdown of like, hey, this is what you do if a tick falls on your head. And then it was like, hey, if you see these eyes blinking in the distance, it's a coyote. So like,
don't mess with that.
And LA is known for their mountain lions. So like, let them know that you're not afraid. Celsius? I just got to know you're not interrupting. Please. Oh my God. People say don't do drugs. Ooh, that is strong. Someone will message me on Instagram or Twitter and be like, "You're such a see you next Tuesday because you broke Cameron and his girlfriend up." And I always, young me wants to be like, that was a direction. Someone told me to do that. I didn't do that of my own like bitchy volition. Somebody, my elder and my director told me to do it, and I blindly believed that someone had told him, or that that this was set up and yada yada. I didn't realize that I was being set up. But also 29-year-old Lindsay is like, "Oh my God, what? It's been 10 years."
It's been 10 years.
I don't even think if Cameron walked down the street, I don't even think we'd recognize each other. Like, what do you mean? You thought Cameron and his high school sweetheart were destined to be together forever? Okay. Like, I can't. But that's the petty. But also, like, the higher me is like, did you just watch it? Like, seriously. I'm like, oh, you must have just watched it.
Yeah,
but
you must be deep in your emotion.
I get comments on YouTube. I get comments everywhere where like, "I love Lindsay, but God, she's such a see you next. Like, she's such a cunt. She's such a bitch." And you're like,
how that is that?
I don't know. Like, okay, fair. I mean, trust me, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "You're wrong." Like, you're wrong. Girl, I'm sober. I have done a lot wrong in my life. Like, believe you me, I know my best and my worst. But for like 16-year-olds to message me and be like, "I can't believe you," I'm like, you were 4. Love your little
yes,
near grand de Jean.
I'm gonna try something new there tonight. I don't know. I've been feeling like I've been doing that one for like a couple weeks now. It's time to Can't do it tonight because it's matinee tomorrow, but maybe tomorrow.
No, there's a 1 p.m. tomorrow. We're not doing anything
There's
tonight.
nothing happening tonight.
Absolutely not. Apparently, wait, is this not happening tonight or is that tomorrow?
That is tonight.
I'm not doing that.
I know.
Love you though. No, don't feel bad. Do not feel bad. Honey, if you want that that crazy amped up that you do, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. Just pray a little.
Squeeze. just gotta suck it in. Sing some Buenos Aires.
I'll do it.
You do it.
What now?
It is 11:40 now. So what I'm going to do is order coffee carafes to the theater and put them throughout because it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day for everybody that's here all day. He was so good in Memphis.
I was like, I wasn't in Memphis, the city.
The city. He was not in Memphis, the show.
No. Sorry.
Where are the bootlegs, girl? Who's to say?
Yeah, they're out there, I'm sure.
Excuse me. It's the Celsius.
Favorite.
I can feel your forearms trembling against my back.
I'm always shaking. It's the Celsius.
I almost said it's the gay. Sometimes the gay just trembles through me and I just can't handle it.
The Helen Glucken handle have a scandal and you're sure to have a hit. My salary has not been paid.
Because we're about to get half hour and I need to get naked. I don't think I should have eaten that pizza, but my mouth is happy. I don't think my tummy is. I don't do well with bubbles. I can't. Bubbles and show are not. I'm already a barfy. Barfy. I'm a barfy girl.
I'm already a Barbie, so.
I'm already a barfy gal, so let's just not. Oh my god. And then there is. Oh, it's got chocolate in it. You know, sometimes it's tears. Sometimes tears will take it right off. My last show, I went back and I was like, there's no more green on my face. Staying in what I think is a haunted home. But it's beautiful, big, beautiful old house. But I'm just feel like at any moment I'm gonna look outside and there's just gonna be a person in the middle of the street just staring up at me, waiting. I always love a good extension of spooky season, but I don't know if I have final girl energy in me. I am now in my pajamas, my fuzzy socks, because it's chilly.
Dina was playing the Gallo Center and I happened to be in town and someone gave me tickets because they knew that I knew her. And I was like, I do not know Idina Menzel. Let's make that very clear. Even to this day, I do not know Idina Menzel. And if Idina Menzel was kind enough to remember me and or pretend to remember me, I would lick her shoes. So
Adina, you
babe,
gotta get together with Lindsay.
Babe. But she,
babe.
So the first hip hop combination I ever learned was to do it like a dude. And that's what got me into Jessie J. And then I just would sit. This is revealing. If she's still in here, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to embarrass you. I would sit on my kitchen floor in my studio apartment in LA. And I'd be like, sit in a big white room alone to my handbag. I mean, I literally would just cry. I would cry on the kitchen floor. I'm going crazy. I literally like at the top of my... I need to be sedated. I swear to God. Your 20s, am I right? I kept going, oh my God. Because I knew who was going to be in the video. But I feel like people forget that, like, I'm a fangirl of Stephanie J. Block and Shoshana Bean and Eden Espinoza. I fucking fangirl over Jessica Vosk, for God's sake. Like, if Jackie Burns was to walk through my house, I'd be like, oh, like I would lose my mind. And
it's real.
All of us side by side and how alphaba we all are, and yet none of us are alike. Not one of us sound alike. Not one of us have the same
it's so true.
thing that we do. like, to those who ground me, take a message back. And that no one says message like Idina Menzel. She goes, take a message back. And I was literally like,
Good evening all. The time is 7:30. This is your half-hour call. Sadly here this evening, the speech is Jenna Claire and Lindsay Pearce. Please sign in if you've not done so already.
God, I forgot.
the first time that I ever flew, they were basically testing the claw, around me to see if they needed to change it from me to Hannah. And they didn't, which is very kind because Hannah is this big and I'm not this big. So they were like, oh, she's the same size as Hannah. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Literally a size 2. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so nice to me.
Finish this tonight. I'm gonna start Kiki. We're getting up early tomorrow though, so I can't be greedy and read too much, but I do have to wait till that bathroom is free. So read away I shall. Twist my arm, make me beg. Oh, this bed. Oh, my fitted sheet just sprang loose and it scared the shit out of me. Just finished this. That was such a journey. I have so many questions. And a good book.
Like the lights in the house were up so I could see every seat. And I could see the ground and I could see everybody else. And I went up in the air and I was like, no. And we went higher and higher and higher and I got weaker and weaker and weaker. I was like, maybe bring me down. Bring me down. Bring me down.
I hate this.
I was screaming at the top of my lungs, just screaming.
I'm gonna get dressed. And I'm gonna Cardi B this stress away.
Yeah.
If you open that skirt there's really not much between you and the ground. It's just a claw. They call it the cherry picker. It's just a claw, and the thing that's holding the claw up is it's a rod that runs down your back and attaches to a steel foothold, which is about as big as my MacBook Air. My MacBook Air is about this big. My hands are there.
No.
It's that big. So it's enough. It's a little extra unless you got like real big old feet. It's just enough for you to be standing on with your knees bent a little bit so you don't pass out while you're up there. And they were like, oh, by the way, you will also be like shaking. And I was like, I'm sorry, why? And there are men on the sides, on stage left and stage right, that are doing this to the fabric so that it ripples like this, so that the shock waves
And you're like,
ripple. I'm literally going, so if you care to find me, look to the western sky. Like I'm screaming. And I'm like, bring me down. Screaming out there and trying not to fall down. And it's a little less dramatic than that, but God, the first couple times I was like, how?